Morning, everybody. Good morning. Woo, it feels good to be back doing the news, honestly. Like, sometimes I just want to get away from it because it's so much crap. So much crap. Oh my God. Grab your coffee and don't spill it. Jesus, Lord, help us. I hope that that started out your morning with a great big yeah. That's just like absolutely ridiculous. It is. It's a sad day in America. The things that are happening around the country and around the world right now. I ain't fooled with any bank since 2006. Yeah, well, and honestly, KY, we're gonna talk about a few things this morning, but the bank industry is collapsing. And we got to realize this. I'm going to touch a little bit about the banking, do the intro, then we'll get into this morning's report, mostly military, because of all the things that are escalating. But what I want to say about the banking industry right now is we got to realize that when so many people are defaulting on their loans, defaulting on being able to pay their bills, they're going and yanking money out of the banks. And we knew that the bank rush would come sooner or later. There was a really great information that came out this morning about how fragile our banking industry is, and about when people go and they start pulling out more and more money, what occurs. And the thing that we don't realize is how they operate on paper so much. I mean, most people don't really get it. If a lot of people are defaulting on their loans, defaulting on their credit cards, pulling out more and more money from their savings, the banks actually don't have that money. They really don't have the money. And we're seeing some of the largest banks around the country just they're getting shattered. We've seen this about 2 years ago, where a lot of banks were closing their doors. I think we're going to see the bank rush. I think when it happens, though, that the banks are not going to be able to recover. And when we have that occur, that is when all of our money is at jeopardy. Do I suggest that we all go pull out our money? Probably so. Probably so. Like, even our 401ks, I remember when G was alive, about it's been 3 years that he's been gone. And also, I want to bring up one other thing this morning. It is the news, but I want to bring up one other thing. Is this is the 1 year anniversary of us all losing Beth D, and she's always on my mind. She was a great supporter of this channel, so I really miss Beth D. But the banks are a mess, and me personally, I think silver is going to stand the test of time. It always has. And also, having living within your means, not getting overextended, getting rid of those credit cards, getting rid of things that you can. If all of us would have did that decades ago and not get sucked into the machine of credit, this country would probably be in a better standing. But I think many countries around the world as well are seeing the United States just kind of be on faulty ground. We're shaky. And I think the more that the banking industry and people see that, I think we're going to end up with this disastrous mess. And you're exactly right. That's when they're going to pull and bring in the digital currency. Because see, if people believe in their heart of hearts, let's be a little sarcastic this morning. If you really believe that the government is out to protect you, you really need to go back through this channel and listen. But the thing is, too, is that the CBDC will be easy to roll in on people. And the reason that'll happen is because people will be seeing the American dollar crumble. And then the big brother will come in and say, "Hey, I got the perfect thing for you, KY. Since your dollar is not worth diddle now, it's not worth shit. Is I'm going to go ahead and give you 300,000 CBDC in your account." And people are going to see that number, and they're going to be all excited about getting the CBDC. It's kind of like the last few days we've been talking about smart cities. People think it's the best thing since apple butter, peach cobbler. They think it's the best thing for us is to move into 15-minute cities because everything will be at your fingertips. People will do the exact same thing about the CBDC because they feel that this is the way out of debt. Is it the way out of debt? Nah, come on. I will take a look at it. I will take a look at it. I've been looking at it so much because I wanted to bring back news broadcasts. I think 7:30 is a better and a more appropriate time than 8:30. Just lets me get my day and my workout going on because that's like important to me right now, my workout. Hold on 1 minute. I'll be right back. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Good morning from the bushes. Oh, whoa. Hello. Hello. Truthful Troll. Good morning. Truthful Troll, you're back to give me a hard time. I'm glad to see people back. I needed a huge, huge break just from just from all the BS, all the BS. But I'm never gonna leave YouTube. I'm never gonna stop doing what I do. Truthful Troll, what's up? What's up? Glad to see everyone coming back. I want to talk about several things this morning. One, as we see the DEF CON, now let's not get all crazy and shit like that. Oh, OTWP, you don't know what the DEF CON is? No, we don't. We do not know what the DEF CON is, so don't get over excited this morning. But the military movement is huge right now, huge. And what's happening with Israel and Iran and the United States saying they're not involved in it? How many of you truthfully believe the United States is not involved in what's occurring right now? If you believe that, I'm sorry to tell you, that is a big bullshit scam. You know, I'm gonna, I might get taken down again. I really don't give a shit. so, so just so y'all know, I will be putting up a backup channel, and I'll probably be revamping OTWP report. So I'll let that be known on the channel community page, just so people know where to find me if I get taken down again, because I think that it's time to go full throttle on YouTube, and also to bring more and more people to the reality of what's going on around the world, which is pretty. It's it's unbelievable the things that are occurring right now. Yeah, yeah, it is. We're at the point that this country is on the brink of a big, huge freaking disaster. I want to bring up a few things. We have the Chinese hackers at it again, and we've been talking about this the last 3 days with the smart cities. Like, how fragile is it? So the Chinese hackers have breached the US telecoms network. They're saying that this is because of the elections. Of course, everybody wants to put in their 2 cents. Full throttle, no holds bar. Well, we're in a foobar is what we're in, and this country is not recognized the way we were before. Honestly, if you think about it. But I want to say this, when we talk about these hackers, and I will be doing a new cybersecurity hacking report because we're on the brink of a huge, huge disaster. In a joint statement that was issued on Friday, the FBI and the Cybersecurity Infrastructure Security Agency, the CISA, said they are aggressively investigating and attempting to migrate a breach linked to the Chinese Communist Party. Well, imagine that. Imagine that. Tech companies and security analysts have warned for some months of the threat of a cyber attack during the election. I want to talk about that a little bit. These Chinese hackers are so keen and so smart. They're so far ahead of the technology is that the United States cannot keep up. The United States is in a devastating tailspin right now. That's the best way to put it. So there was a joint statement that was issued on Friday by the FBI and the Cybersecurity and Infrastructure Security Agency, the CISA. They are aggressively investigating and attempting to mitigate a breach linked in to the CCP. Now, agencies across the US government are collaborating. Yeah, sure they are. To aggressively mitigate this threat, and they're coordinating with the industry partners to strengthen the cyber defense across the commercial communication sectors. This is coming in from the CISA and the FBI. The two agencies that affected companies have been notified, and they're providing them with technical assistance. Now, we all kind of know how technical assistance goes. It goes like this. You pick up the phone or anything, press 1 for English, press 2 for Spanish, and the list goes on and on. Then you stay on hold for about 75 hours, right? So, do you have faith in that? I'm just saying. No group as yet, they haven't come forward to claim responsibility for the attack, and the details of the nature have not been made public. Hold on, we're talking about it. They're so full of shit. In response to the reports that Donald Trump and JD Vance may have been targets of this latest hack, the Trump campaign spokesman Stephen Chong issued a statement. This is the actual statement. This is the continuation of election interference by Kamala Harris and Democrats who will stop at nothing, including emboldening China and Iran attacking critical American infrastructure. I'd say we better buckle up tight and get ready because good morning, Royal Linus. Good to see you, Royal Linus. Good to see you, Flight Nurse. So, this is coming in from the Epic Times. Their dangerous and violent rhetoric has given permission to those who wish to harm President Trump. Tech companies and security analysts have warned for some months of the threat of a cyber attack during the election. Hit a 1 if you think there will be a cyber attack. Good morning, Country Prepper. No press. 1 for Spanish, 2 for Uranian, 3 for English, and 4 for your anus. you know, the U.S. Intelligence Committee recently warned that cyber attacks would be used beyond the election because they remain intent on fanning divisive narratives to divide Americans. How hard do they have to divide us? This country is so freaking divided. It's the Republicans over here, the Democrats over here, and we know that neither one of them are for Americans. I mean, that's just point blank. But the confidence in the US democratic system is failing. And I think that even though we're all so pissed off and angry at the government and the bullshit that's happening, where do we stop and what do we do about it? If we become more and more divided, this country will fall. And I don't think that there's a way to turn back this clock. Between the debt clock, the military movement, and the hacking, the infrastructure is so fragile. It's so fragile. I'm wondering when the big hit will come on our electrical grid. I truly believe that they may start knocking out sectors of electrical or water because that would put American people, middle class people, poor people in a tailspin. There is a memo from the National Intelligence Council that states that foreign advisories might also consider stoking unrest and conducting localized cyber operations to disrupt election infrastructure. Honestly, I do not see how the United States, in any way, shape, or form, is going to have a fair election ever again in the history of this country. That's just, I don't see it. No one believes in it, and no one believes that what happened is going to not happen again. Did the election get stolen? Who knows? But what I do know is it seems like for decades our vote does not count. So that's something that we need to be ahead of and to think about. There also, the Florida AG is suing the DOJ for obstructing the Trump assassination investigation. Florida Attorney General Ashley Moody, oh, good old Ashley, filed a complaint against U.S. Attorney General Merrick Garland in the Southern District Court of Florida on Wednesday of this week. I do want to talk about that a little bit, just a little bit. Moody says that the federal government's actions represent a genuine threat to the state's ability to investigate the assassination attempt at Trump's West Palm Beach golf course. Florida is suing the Department of Justice for attempting to block the state's independent investigation of that attempt. And that's really interesting. I think that we all know that it was definitely an assassination attempt, not one, but two. Do you believe they will take Texas grid out at some time? Uh, that's one of the most vulnerable infrastructures in the country. Also, flight nurse, I would say this truthfully. If you think of what Texas connects, right? It's like that centerpiece that connects. It would be a great part of the grid to take down. We've talked about this before on the channel. If the grid goes down, it will be like a domino effect. Many people believe that it'll just pop back up and everything will be fine. With all the investigation that I've done over the last 4 years, I truly believe, and the specials that we've had on it and the guests that we've had here, somebody from FEMA, we've had roaming prepper Pete on this channel. And when we talked about it in detail, and this was a lot of people putting their thoughts together, their investigations together. I truly believe that Texas could be a huge target because it is so fragile. And then when you get the domino effect and you knock out a sector like that, right? Texas could be its own country. It's big enough to be with the landmass. So if you have that infrastructure knocked out, and then you have the domino effect where it trickles to the West Coast and the East Coast, how, first of all, we all know from the special I did 3 years ago that the transformers that are being put into our electrical infrastructure were made by China. Once upon a time, they were mostly made by Germany, but now they have, and there's no checks and balances on those transformers. So I believe that that would be a major hit to the Achilles heel of the United States. I really do. I honestly do. Um, well, I believe honestly still to this day, even though it's been 3 years, that the Trojan horse is within our own borders. We have the southern border that was an absolute disaster. And it's funny to me how everybody's direction gets shifted to another catastrophe, right? See, we don't look back and put the pieces together of what has occurred. With the southern border, truthful troll, the way it was open, just come on in, bring us your felons, bring us your gangsters, bring us all that. And we're seeing those gangsters pop up throughout this country. We're seeing very, very aggressive gangsters, not like what we used to have. Then on top of it, we have another shipping crisis that occurred last month. So you know that I've kept a hold of and watched the maritime for years, and I've brought it to the channel several times. I believe that the Trojan horse is all the way from DC, all the way into our county and our city and our state governments. And the thing that we have to realize is that that report that I did about the Chinese professor that wrote the letter, he wrote a letter and he stated the whole plan of China to the whole world. And that letter came out a couple years ago. And he actually said the best way that we can attack the United States and actually take them down as the most powerful country in the world is to attack them not on one front, not on two fronts, but on three. See, the United States can handle one or two conflicts, but with the way our military is and the way our military is falling apart, we definitely have a huge situation where if we get pulled any further, it's like a rubber band. You can only pull a rubber band so far. Then, if you have your people in place from the CCP and from the Chinese government already, all the way from federal, state to local, then it's very easy to manipulate and to make that changeover. Do I think that we'll have a nuclear war? I don't believe so. I'm at the point about nuclear situation is I don't believe that any country that wants to take the US, that wants to take us financially, wants to take our land mass or any of that type of thing will actually nuke this country. They may do a small, I mean, a very small area just to startle people, because if you scare people, you scare a lot of people into submission. And so I think that something like that may occur, an FF or a black swan event. But, it's very interesting the things that are going on. You should see the caravans arriving in the past 2 days. It's beyond unbelievable. I would believe anything. Um, Touching on McDonald's, I touched on that yesterday on the broadcast. There is E. coli. There is one person dead, hundreds of people, and now it was 10 states. It's pretty much across the United States. But do we expect anything else? Our border is secure. Yeah. What area of Texas are you in, flight nurse? Take out the pawns, go after the castle, and the king and queen can't defend the knights. Well, we don't really have. Eh, if you want to consider what's set in Washington, D.C. as a king or a queen, then so be it. But I think we have the clown and the clown show is what we have. And I think that that's going to continue very much so. Let's get into the military report. I I was looking at things that were going on and I was like this is coming in and there's so many things that are occurring with the military. I think that the most important thing we can do as Americans is to keep prepping. The military is so weak right now, and it's been weak. Um, the thing is as the military dwindles down and we don't have enough people to serve in the military, they're really trying to juice up the military, give people more money, more of this, so that they'll come into the military. Most people back in the 70s and 80s would encourage their sons or daughters to go into the military. It's not that way anymore because the sad thing is our military is really at the brink of a huge disaster. And I think that as we see that, the military crumbling, there's there's so many problems from recruitment to training to the equipment that we use. But what I want to bring up about the military right now is with what's happening in Israel and Iran. Um, I truly believe this is a great way to get everybody watching something else than what's happening right here in the United States, and it's been that way for a long time. Let me get to this one here because this breaking alert I think is pretty important. And I'm about 25 miles from San Antonio. Went into SA just to see yesterday. And so you're seeing the caravans of people. And I think that that's going to continue to happen because as everybody knows, there was regiments, platoons of young military age men coming across that border, which is continuing to happen, but nobody wants to talk about it. And when you think about that that right there should be our big red flag that it's coming, and when it does come, they'll already be set in place. It was about 3 years ago that everybody was concerned about the other population from the Middle East coming into the United States, and now it's the Chinese. So how many do we have in this country that are just sleepers, just waiting? And how many more targets will we see little sectors pop up uh, over the next year, 2 years. We don't know when it's going to happen. But the Israel military expands the humanitarian aid area in South Gaza. They're saying the UNRWA worker doubled as a Hamas commander. Also, the Israel did carry out another airstrike in response to Iran earlier. Ballistic missiles. It was an attack by Tehran report. Iran confirmed the airstrikes carried out by Israel, saying that they were part of the country's escalating measures. Britain, Saudi Arabia, Pakistan, and the United Arab Emirates and others have released statements calling on all parties involved to exercise restraint in order to avoid a wider regional conflict from breaking out. This is all coming in this morning. You've seen, oh, okay, interesting. Thank you for reporting that from Texas. 75% that you've seen with your own eyes were Chinese. And see, it's not easy. That's one thing I want to touch on real quick before I talk more about the military report, because this is military related, is it's not easy to leave China and come to the United States. It's not. They estimate 10 million, truth is closer to 20. Think about that. Think about that. Israel did carry out the strikes on targets within Iran. The IDF spokesman, Rear Admiral Daniel Hagari, he said, I can now confirm that we have concluded the Israeli response to Iran's attacks against Israel. We conducted targeted and precise strikes on military targets in Iran. So it is an immediate threat to the state of Israel. Coming in on the 25th, Pakistani and Taliban claims responsibility for deaths of 10 police near Pakistan's border within Afghanistan. The attack consisted between 20 and 25 Pakistani and Taliban militia, and it was carried out against the frontier Kandahar police assistance. Also, coming in on the 24th, which I think is pretty important, the U.S. carried out joint raids on ISIS locations with Iraq security forces. During the Iraq-led operations, U.S. Central Command reported that the U.S. military personnel were wounded while assisting Iraqi forces with the site. Also, there was multiple senior ISIS members in joint strikes and raids. The U.S. personnel wounded. Suspicious approach incident reported near Aden, Yemen, and there was shots fired. A suspicious approach incident was reported 48 nautical miles south of Aden and Yemen, where one small craft comes within 3 cables of a merchant vessel. And we're going to see, I think we're going to see those things occur. Um, and it's not going to stop. It's going to be to the point that it's going to be more and more of these on the military report. You'll probably see a lot of military reports from me over the next month. Um, 20 million in the last 3.5 years, plus the 70 million already have equals 90 million. Wow. So if you add up those numbers, Truthful Troll, thanks for reporting that. It, and banks don't require SS number to set up accounts anymore. That's interesting. I would love for you to send it to me. You have the email. It's offthewallprepper@gmail.com. And with your permission, I will show it to the channel. We had that happen when all the things were happening out on the West Coast with the cargo ships setting out there. And we will be doing a marine vessel report as well. I think I want to really target the channel to go into what's happening and what we can do to better prepare. One thing I do want to say is that when we look at the Middle East and the cyber attacks, I think that they're all conjoined together and they all are going to cause huge, huge problems for the United States. We've seen the Social Security hack. You know, they kind of hushed that really quick. China is saying it carried out its first successful attack by quantum computer on military grade encryption. Successful attacks such as this pose a significant threat to widely used RSA and AES encryption, as well as other methods. There's also 3 branches of the Iranian government that also had cyber attacks, including nuclear facilities that were hit with cyber attacks. And the source really did not say when the attacks occurred. So the attacks could be recent or have happened maybe sometime back. But we are seeing more and more of these on the reports coming in via cyber attacks. With cyber, because we're so reliant on AI and tech. I think that if you could imagine just like what happened with the hospitals and the pharmacies, if we had that on a widespread level where somebody attacked our infrastructure in a cyber uh, right, in a cyber way, banks, hospitals, gas stations, grocery stores, all those things would be halted immediately. So I believe that a attack could be so detrimental to this country. The grid, yes, but actually taking and doing a cyber attack is much easier. There's many guys that come into these DEF CON conferences, and the government picks them out because they're so good to try to fight what's coming at us from overseas. And so that's like really interesting to me. We are outnumbered, no joke for real. I'll send it in doing the show newspaper from the day to validate date video taken. Thank you very much. Yeah, we are in a huge shortage of IV fluid. Thank you for reporting that as well. I think, but if you think about that, flight nurse, if they came in and did a cyber attack and it hit our hospitals and they were just able to knock us off for 24 hours across the country, from social media to Google to our TVs to our cell phones, all of the things that a cyber attack could do to the United States would definitely slice us right at the Achilles heel. It would definitely slice us at the Achilles heel. And the thing is how long would it take to get back up? I believe that many of these companies, from the research I've done, many of these companies put a backdoor way to come into these programs. So at any time, they can change data, they can attack it. And most of these programs that are used widespread, right, come in from other countries and we implement them into the United States. So when you think about that, it is a very dangerous technological world that we live in. And when we think about cyber attacks, we don't think about it would stop railroad trains. It would stop the ships. It would stop mass transportation. The things that it would lead to would be so detrimental to this country. I really truly believe that that would be the economical fall of the United States. Also, mass chaos, mass chaos. Oh, yeah. Yeah, because, almost everybody, hit a 1 in the chat, but most of us use digital banking. We don't go into the bank. We don't even see our checks anymore. It's digital. And see, I believe KY is when you take the CBDC, it's going to be so easy. So many people don't carry cash anymore. So many people don't even carry credit cards. They just keep it in their phone. So imagine when this bad boy, right? When this bad boy, you open it up and there's nothing there. So then they can roll in the CBDC and everybody's going to be like, "Oh, thank God. Thank you government for giving me my money back." See, we've been sold this bill of goods. If we would have never got off of paper money and gold backed money, this country would not be where it's at today. Wow. Hey, Carol. It is very interesting the things that are going on. These live streams that I do now, they'll be 30 minutes to an hour. I'm not going to just sit on here and la for an hour. Um, I want to keep prepping. I want to keep putting my boots on the ground. You're going to see some revamps of some live streams of things that I feel are important that maybe we forgot about that are on this channel. Skills are going to be what really brings us through the catastrophes. And I really truly believe that most preppers, we've forgotten a few things that are very, very important. One, we always talk food, water. food, water. Some channels are beginning to talk about air because air, without air we're all doomed. But I think one thing that we've really forgot to talk about is getting healthy. The foods that we eat are a real big issue in this country. The foods that we take into our body, the way that we look at our health. And you'll see some of these preppers, they're 180 pounds overweight. And I'm not making fun, I'm just being honest and realistic. But they never talk about getting healthy. You can have all the preps you want. You can have all the ammo you want, all the second you want. You can have all the food and water you want. But if you're so extremely overweight or unhealthy that you can't get up and walk a mile or 5 miles with your bag, with your get home bag, really, where is it going to put you? You're going to be sitting on your couch praying that someone comes to your rescue. I believe that when the United States falls, and we are in the tailspin, when we actually fall, there's going to be a lot of lone wolf preppers. There's going to be a lot of gangsters. And then on top of that, we're going to have this military age men that are in great shape from around the world waiting, just waiting to take what you have and what I have. And it's going to take Americans to stop being such puff puff marshmallow asses and so crying about everything to get up on their feet and do the dang thing. The time is of the essence. Will we see the fall of the United States in the next year, 5 years, or 10? I can't tell you that. What I can tell you is that being prepared and preparedness is an insurance policy for you and for your family, just like it is for me, just like it is for our animals. And without being prepared, without getting healthy, instead of allowing your kid to sit in front of the TV or the cell phone for hours and that's their babysitter, maybe it's time to take him camping. Maybe it's time to take him fishing. Maybe it's time to get out in the front yard and throw a football and make him run. We have more children that are overweight that it's unbelievable. And you go to other countries and you see kids riding bikes and walking. And here in the United States, you go outside and people don't seem to be too happy anymore. It's time for all of us to take our health very seriously. If you have medical issues or if you have dental issues that need to be taken care of, the time is of the essence because none of us are guaranteed tomorrow and none of us are guaranteed tomorrow that the United States doesn't fall. The reason we prep and the reason I've prepped is because I've had some major issues in my life, from job loss to health issues, even abscess tooth. An abscess tooth during a real SHTF where it's full blown could cause you your life. So if you have the opportunity to take advantage of the medical or the dental facilities or to go to the gym a little more often or go for a walk with your wife or husband, time is now to get healthy. I've been on a real big health kick. I've changed the way I eat. I only eat one meal a day, and at night, one cooked meal a day, and at night, I only eat vegetables. My big thing is that almost every single night, 5 days a week, I eat a salad, a dinner salad, and I see the difference. I've cut back on soda intake. I've cut back on that immensely, and they laugh at me when I go through a drive-through or go to a gas station and I get it extra small. Most people don't even know this exists anymore. But I think that when it comes to our health, if we don't look at what we're eating and consuming, if we and I know it's hard and it's very expensive to buy good food, and even things that say organic aren't necessarily always organic. So we have to be very cautious. I think that everybody needs a victory garden in the spring, and maybe some of you are harvesting already this fall. I think that water intake is so important. There'll be a short coming out about the Alexa Pure. It should be coming out, I think, tomorrow morning or tonight. Um, we also are bringing trivia back on Sunday nights to keen in on those skills, to really take a look at the skills that we have and the skills that we need. I hope that more and more of you, if you are a channel creator, will share out the channel again. OTWP's back. I never really went anywhere. I just needed a break from reporting the news because sometimes it gets a little overwhelming. I'm going to keep this broadcast down to earth. We are going to talk about food shortages, recalls, things that we can do to prepare better. It's not always just going to be 100% news because I believe that news is important, but I believe what's really important is getting centered, staying focused on your preparedness journey, just like I am on mine. And everybody needs balance in life. It's the yin and the yang. And without balance, we're screwed. We will have a mental breakdown. Mental preparedness is probably one of the most important things that we can do because you never know how you're going to react until you're in a bad, bad freaking situation. I hope that y'all will stay. I'm going to play a couple songs the OTWP way. I'm bringing back the oldies and the goodies from the original Off the Wall Prepper. Also, there will be a new YouTube creators class coming out back in the day when I didn't get censored so much and had great views. But you know what? If I can reach 10 people and you 10 people, or you 20 people, or you 100 people, tell 10 more people things that could help them, or send them to the channel to watch the reboot list with demos. Maybe we can help someone else. This channel's always been about love, light, and hope. And no matter where you're at, no matter what's going on in your life, always remember there's a difference between being a watcher and a doer. And I hope that you do the dang thing and you keep putting your boots on the ground. Nice to see you, Huga. Life is not easy, and we were never ever promised the silver spoon in our mouth or up our ass. But what I will say is that as long as you keep putting your boots on the ground and you keep learning the skills, it's really, really important. We're at a crucial turning point in the United States. We're at a point where this country could crumble in a matter of minutes or seconds. Will it happen? I don't know. Will it happen in our lifetime? I don't know. That's why it's so important that we teach our children and they teach their children how to survive, how to thrive through the changes that are coming. God bless you from here in Colorado to wherever you're at. Make today count. And remember, keep being a doer and not a watcher and not a just a put your boots on the ground, folks. God bless. Big prepper hugs. Hang out if you want to listen to a couple songs. Oh, one last thing. I think we'll start out with this song because sometimes we're going to have to go with the flow. We're not always going to have things the way we want them. So go with the flow and never give up. God bless. In closing, I hope everybody has a fantastic day. I'll see y'all tomorrow about the same time. Somewhere between 7:30 and 8:30 in the morning, we'll be doing this broadcast. I work nights now. I usually work like 2 to 10 o'clock. Thank you so much. I do. I do. I really do. Hey, Neil, what's up? But we'll do this broadcast almost daily between 7:30 and 8:30. If I need or feel that there's something that we need to bring to the channel regarding something local that's happening around noontime, you'll get a short live stream, 15, 20, 30 minutes. I really want to bring this channel back together the off the wall prepper way. Trivia. We're going to bring back the A-hole club. We're going to do a couple